Fry Guy here, and welcome to a special version of Pixels Refreshed. So today, what I'm going to take you on is my personal Samus fan art journey. Now, I've been a game artist in the game industry for the last 10 years. I've worked on mobile games, I've worked on Switch games, PC, Xbox, various things. I've done a lot of types of art for it. I've done pixel art for it, and all of those kind of stuff, all of those kind of things. But I've been doing Samus fan art my entire life. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I have some older examples here, not that old, but this is one from when I was trying to make Samus upside down, flipping through the air, shooting, and I clearly at the time didn't understand how to draw in a way where it would look animated. Now, I'm about to walk you through this. So this goes back 15, 20 years for these pieces of art, but I can kind of walk you through the fan art that I've done of Samus and Metroid and my journey through that today. So why don't we get started? Okay, so this is the oldest piece that I could find on my computer. So this is a drawing I did of Samus, I guess in 2007. My guess is I did this when they announced Zero Suit Samus for Brawl. Clearly there's some wonky stuff with proportions, hiding that arm, fingers look weird. Not something I'm overly proud of, but I thought it was a decent place to start. So that was one of the first pieces, and then from there I went through art school. So before that, that was right when I was going into art school, but not when I had gone through any art school. Next, you kind of walk into, I did a drawing of Samus versus Mega Man in kind of a chibi style that I was into for a while, and then I painted it up. There's a lot of weird things and splotchy things about the painting that I wouldn't do. I was still trying to get my grasp of perspective and proportions and 3D at this point in time. In some ways, the drawing holds up better than the painting. But anyways, I was trying to show reflective materials, was trying to do all of that, and yeah, that kind of shows that point in time. A couple years later, from there, I did my Smash Date series. So this is where that style has evolved a bit, gotten a little bit better with proportions and perspective, and trying to make an image that's interesting from a lighting perspective and things like that. So clearly, I've added more kind of color into the entire scene, so light looks like it carries across things. My understanding of light and proportions is a lot better. And I did two. I did one with a date outfit, and I did one with the Zero suit. But it was a fun little project. I thought it was a funny idea, and this was the kind of painting I was trying to create my own like Pixar-esque aesthetic at that point in time. So this is some of my older work that I have done on Samus. So this would have been probably around 2014, 2015. And from there, the next big Samus piece I did was after I started work on Halcyon 6. So when I was working on Halcyon 6, Halcyon 6 had been started by another artist, Juan Carlos Salon, and he had set up the pixel art style. So I didn't initiate the style for Halcyon 6, but I had to come in and do the rest of the assets. The last year and a bit of the project, I had to come in and do the rest of the art for. So I was getting deep into that, and I was trying to find my pixel art voice. So it actually, this is the image that I did out of that of Metroid, but this isn't where it started. So what I'm going to pull up for you, I did the first image that I did in this series of images was this one, and it was actually for an N64 competition that I did on DeviantArt, and it ended up, for some reason, being the only one that was tweeted by Nintendo of Europe. And it was really strange. I think one of the comments was actually they've started posting fan stuff, and it was like they hadn't posted fan stuff, and it's unlike Nintendo to post fan stuff. So I was really surprised to see that Nintendo had taken my pixel art and posted on here. Now, there's a lot of things I don't do anymore in pixel art with this. So we have like these pixels fading as they go across. We have the gradient washes on the image. So it's like I did washes of like just brushes on this to try to blend into it, which kind of gives it an interesting mix between like N64 and pixel art aesthetic. But you see, like, this is clearly just a lot of colors. You wouldn't see that in pixel art. And anyways, I mean, the action in the scene is nice. I think that it still has a nice flow, but this Metroid image is what came out of that. So anyways, this is the Metroid image that I was starting to get. You can still see I did the background completely as pixel art, but it has those gradient washes, and other things that I don't really do as much anymore. I more try to operate within pure pixel art. And then, I have bloom and glow on this light effect. And I mean, some of that's pretty cool. And from there, I wanted to do another one. So this was the fight, obviously, with Tardis in Metroid Prime. And Phendrana Drifts is one of my favorite places in Metroid. I love visualizing that. And I thought, I don't want to do Super Metroid or things like that. They already exist as pixel art. What I wanted to try was bringing Metroid Prime down to a pixel art aesthetic and seeing what that looked like. So I also did this Samus versus Meta Ridley one. I don't think it turned out quite as well, but there's some weirdness with, like, I think that this leg should be maybe lower down. You should see more of the hips now. Some of the proportions are a little bit differently than I would do them now. But, I was getting a knack for it. I was trying to get a sense of it. I think this one ultimately holds up better now, especially because it has nice color grading. Everything's kind of in the same color family, whereas this has got a bit too much color in it. Anyways. And from there, I was commissioned to do this, which was just a fun piece where you got to do a showdown, Mexican standoff, I think they're called, between Master Chief, Samus, and Chrono. So really fun piece. I had fun with this. I think in general it actually still holds up pretty good. I should have done more work on the background in hindsight. And looking at this now, that could have been cleaned up and better. So could these. And this foreground, maybe I could have separated that a bit more. But in this leg, there's something about this straight lines here that's ruining that whole pose. Otherwise, that pose is actually really nice. So that was the next big piece of Metroid fan art that I did. I think this takes me to, let me see the folder real quick. Yeah, the next thing that this takes me to was the ones I did. So I made a dream team for Star Renegades. So this is, I know it looks like it's moseying across the scene. It's really that this background wasn't wide enough for me to do the run at the proper speed. So that's my fault. I could have made the run. I think the run animation is good enough, but I definitely should have made the background loop more for this animation. I think the run itself would look much better if that was the case. And you can tell when you look at just the isolated frame. So this is without the background. The run looks significantly faster despite the fact that it's the exact same frames, just because the background wasn't tracking nicely to it before. I did these. They're the exact same necessary animations to build it into Star Renegades, so that at the odd chance that Nintendo said to me, hey, you can put Metroid in the Switch version of your game, I was already ready to release the assets, and we could have had that in, and they were built for that. So hey, if someone's building an RPG and needs Samus sprites and maybe wants to use these, you can hit me up. Maybe I would be interested. I don't know. Depends on the game. I'd have to make sure it was a good project match. But anyways, I also did for that. So at the time, this is kind of the level of animations and stuff that I was doing. This is all the Star Renegades character animations that I did. Just a bunch of idle animations for the characters. So I was deep in animation. I was deep in pixel art. I've been doing hundreds of assets at this point in time in pixel art. So just to give you kind of a framework of where that piece came from. I also did one for Master Chief. And I did one for Alloy. It was kind of like if I could do like Soul Calibur like character exclusives for each console, then these are my dream team. So anyways, you can take a look at, I even made a Covenant just to get hit. I made a Covenant Elite just for the hit animation. So it's funny that I bothered to go through the work for that. And the last one was Alloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. So made those three. That was my dream team. And this was all done within the same month. So I thought I would show them all as like, this was the level of animation that I was at that point in time. It was the art style that I was working in, and so on and so forth. Now, that takes us from there onto the things I did recently for Metroid Dread. I don't think there's anything between that and Metroid Dread. So I did two things in preparation for Dread. I did this one here, which is... Sorry, one second. Let me just pull this on the other screen. Funnily enough, here, I'll play this in a second. Where is it? Yeah, which did incredibly well for me on Twitter. I think it's my most successful tweet ever. But then people also took it and they added music to it to make it creepy. There's a bunch of stuff on Instagram with that. I'm not used to Instagram, so because I typically don't work on phones and they don't let you upload from a desktop. So anyways, Someone added music to it, the Metroid Fusion music for being chased, and to give that vibe. But this one did incredibly well for me. I can see, I don't know, I have no idea how many likes and whatnot it has on Twitter at this point for me, but too many. 300,000 views and 42,000 likes. So really breakthrough image for me, which is funny because I was just making it on a whim, and I'm just a huge fan of Metroid. So anyways, from there, I also did a big Metroid scene. So I took this, and if anyone's interested, feel free to write about it in the comments. I can show how I made this because I assembled this scene in Unity. I just made a run cycle. I did an animation cycle for Samus, and I drew all of the environment stuff from Dread. I didn't spend a ton of time making the assets perfect. I was just trying to make sure that I had everything that I wanted to get the sense of what 2D, 3D hybrid Metroid Dread would look like. So I have kind of a couple of areas from it. There's actually another area that's not even in here that I drew, but I didn't end up showing it. But it just loops endlessly over and over and over again. So anyways, this is kind of my journey through Metroid fan art. All the way from terrible to Disney, Pixar inspired to pixel art. And, even nowadays, one sec, let me pop this up. Even nowadays, it's like every sketchbook I have, I'm always drawing some kind of Metroid-like armor on various things, or coming up with my own designs for characters like that, or other things. And Samus has been one of the most inspirational characters for me, and I've been following Metroid forever. And I just thought that some people might be interested in seeing my journey through that. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways I've grown as an artist. I hope I continue to grow more as an artist. I hope my work gets better and better. If you have any feedback, feel free to message me about it. And anyways, I mean, I just thought I would make this video as a tribute to one of the games that visually inspired me more than anything else. And I hope it's inspired some of you the same way. I mean, Nintendo's been a very impactful company on me. I mean, when I'm not trying to brag, but like I literally almost crapped my pants when Metroid, my Mario image was retweeted by Nintendo of Europe. So it's like, it's one of these weird things when you see the people you love interacting with your work. It is a special thing. And I know I'm not a perfect artist. I work at my best to be the best that I can. I try to make work that at least I'm engaged in, and hopefully that other people see that and they take something out of it. But all of these different types of art kind of represent Metroid in different ways. And I love the 2D Metroids. I love the 3D Metroids. I'm not one of those people that's 2D is bad, Prime is good, or Prime is bad, 2D is good. I love them both. I love Prime trilogy. I love all of the classic Metroids. They've inspired me to I can't even begin to talk about how much I've drawn from the amazing artists that have worked at Nintendo and Retro Studios over the years making Metroid. And I've been, privileged to have success with the images that I've done. And I'm really thankful for that. I hope that you enjoyed this video and my little walk through the art that I've made on Metroid. I hope that if you do, you click the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one. And if there's anything you want me to make a video about, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try my best to get to it. Anyways, have yourselves a great night, and take care.